What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about linebacker Rashaan Evans. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support, continuing to share out my content on all the social media platforms. If you'd like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. And if you'd like to be a part of my Jew Talk Sports membership, you can hit that join tab here on the channel as well. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about linebacker Rashaan Evans and why the Falcons haven't re-signed Rashaan Evans. Personally, I do want the Falcons to re-sign Rashaan Evans. I do believe that he came in on that one-year deal last year, was a prove-it deal. He signed like a one-year, $1.5 million deal with the Falcons, and he was our best linebacker last season on this Atlanta Falcons roster. Rashaan Evans was our leading tackler last year with over 150 tackles. And I'm really surprised to see no other team has tried to sign him and that the Falcons haven't brought him back just yet. Now, a couple weeks ago, before the draft, Terry Fontenot did state that they were in contract negotiations with Rashaan Evans and they were trying to bring him back. But at this point, because it's been so long, I'm not too sure if he's asking for too much money, or I'm not too sure what the deal is at this point with Rashaan Evans and why the Falcons haven't decided to bring him back. Personally, I do think that having depth is very important in the NFL. You guys hear me talk about strength in numbers all the time. And personally, I think that the Falcons should bring back Rashaan Evans on at least a 2-year deal to help bring along the young linebackers that we have in Caden Ellis, and also Troy Anderson. To me, Rashaan Evans was the leader, one of the leaders of the defense last year. He took over that Mike linebacker position from Michael Walker, who was kind of struggling to lead the defense. And when Rashaan Evans took over that defense at that middle linebacker spot, you can tell that the communication, getting the plays into the other players, getting players in position, things just picked up when Rashaan Evans took over that middle linebacker position. And personally, I think that you need a leader at that position. You need a veteran, a guy who's been around and understands the game, a guy who can see things before they happen, type of player. And I think Rashaan Evans is just that. Rashaan Evans is not the best linebacker in coverage, but he is a downhill linebacker. And with us bringing in the big bodies that we've added up front, Eddie Goldman coming out of retirement, us bringing in Calais Campbell, us bringing in Onyemata in free agency, us having Grady Jarrett on that defensive front. I really think that the Falcons did a really good job of adding beef up front. And with them adding those guys up front, I do believe that Rashaan Evans, who was on our roster last year and led us in tackles, I really think adding those big boys up front is only going to allow Rashaan Evans to run even freer and to be able to make tackles in the backfield for loss and things of that nature. Rashaan Evans is your classic downhill type of linebacker. He's a guy that likes to bang and he hits anything that moves. And I definitely think that he would be a great addition to bring him back to our Atlanta Falcons. So I hope that they're able to get a deal done with Rashaan Evans. Like I said, I'm not too sure if he's asking for too much money or what the reason is of why we haven't brought him back. But I definitely think that the Falcons should try bringing him back because guys like Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis haven't played a whole lot of football. These guys are still really young. And in regards to Caden Ellis, he's been a guy who's battled injuries when he was on the New Orleans Saints. So being that, guys are going to get nicked up, and that's something that I always mention, that football is a very physical sport and injuries are going to happen. You want to have guys behind the starter. So even if Rashaan Evans is not the starter, you want to have that competition in training camp, and you want to have guys that you can bring in if someone does get nicked up or get injured for the season. Knock on wood, you have somebody that you can bring in that you can trust and that can come in and lead this defense. And I definitely think right now we're still kind of thin at the inside linebacker position. Yeah, we have guys like Michael Walker. We have Caden Ellis who can play inside or outside. and you have Troy Anderson. But outside of those three guys, to me, you really don't have any guys that are consistent, who's done it at the highest level. And to me, Rashaan Evans, ever since he stepped foot in the league, even when he was with Tennessee, he's one of the better linebackers as far as coming downhill, a guy that understands the game and understands what quarterbacks are thinking, what the offensive players and offensive linemen and things of that nature are trying to do to you. And you want to have that type of guy in that locker room with those linebackers, a guy who's been around the block a couple times, a guy who can help these guys not only on the field, but also help these guys off the field as far as in film study. So if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm Terry Fontenot. I'm definitely trying to get a deal done. Hopefully we hear, that a deal is done pretty soon. But to be honest with you guys, now that OTAs have started, now that the guys have gotten back out there on the field, it's not looking real promising for a guy like Rashaan Evans to be brought back. I thought he would be signed by now, but my hopes and prayers is that Rashaan Evans is brought back on this team. It's nothing against the guys, Troy Anderson that we have, nothing against Caden Ellis. I think that those guys are more than capable. Also, Michael Walker. I think all of the guys that we have are more than capable of playing, being the starters on this team. But as I mentioned, Troy Anderson is a guy who didn't get a ton of playing time last season, and he's still going into his second season, and this will be his first season if he's the starter. So even if Rashaan Evans, as I mentioned, isn't your starter, but he's somebody that's backing up the guys that you have, you notice you have someone that's consistent, a guy who stays healthy for the most part, and a guy that can help these guys, like I said, in film study, one of those guys that could be another locker room leader and be a veteran on this defense. But with that being said, you guys give me your thoughts on Rashaan Evans. Would you bring him back if you were Terry Fontenot and the Atlanta Falcons? Personally, I think he balled out under that one-year deal. He was top 5 in tackles in the NFL last season, and he played all 17 games, and he was one of the most consistent players that we had on this Atlanta Falcons defense last season. But with that being said, this been your boy Jew. I have a lot more content coming for you guys as always. Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed, peace.